Hello everyone, thank you to be here for the last talk of the day. My name is Maxime Coquerel, and today we will talk together about threat modeling, more specifically fast protocol and LLM-driven. I work for the Royal Bank of Canada as a principal cloud security architect. Just a quick disclaimer, any of your opinions expressed in this presentation are only my opinion and not necessarily represent the opinion of my employer, management, or ownership or employee. But now let me jump back. I believe it's important to define what is a threat model. As cloud security team, we perform this type of activity, when we are at the design stage. That means, we are reviewing the architecture, with the different stakeholders, and our goal is to try to find potential risk and potential misconfiguration we can have at the architecture level. For that, we are leveraging several methodologies to perform that. If you are in the cloud security space, you are maybe aware about Stride, Dread, or Pasta. But that is a question I have from a lot of developers. Sometimes they ask me, Max, why we are doing a threat model? What that still matter, And what I mentioned before, that help us, to have a proactive approach and also help us to concentrate our different security efforts, on the biggest weaknesses we can have in the architecture. And also identify, some potential gap in terms of security control and prioritize this security control development effort. I put some example of threat we can have in Kubernetes architecture. As you can see, when we are doing this type of assessment, we are reviewing that, from the infrastructure at the infrastructure level and also at the application level. But right now, the biggest problem for a lot of cloud security teams on the market is they are not able to scale. I will explain that deeply. Specifically, when you are performing a threat model, that will use a lot of time, sometimes 2 weeks, 3 weeks to do deep dive threat models. But that is not something scalable, specifically for a small team. The second challenge is you will do a threat model in April, but your threat model in June will be outdated. Why? Because the infrastructure will continue to evolve about that. And to answer to that, to answer to this different problematic, I will propose a solution about that. In terms of requirement we will have for this solution, what will be important is to have a solution which is light, which can help us, to inject some YAML documents, some JSON document, or also some architecture, We will do threat enumeration, risk scoring, prioritization, and we will also want to have some recommendation for the mitigation. Why we want to have that? That is very important, to be very consistent, specifically about the risk scoring and prioritization. As you can imagine, a cloud security architect can have different specialties, such as identity, networking, and sometimes, the content could be inconsistent. And for that, the solution I propose today is to leverage an SML, a small language model with RAG. The first step, what we will do, that will be to build a knowledge base. For that, we will create a large document collection where we will have all the previous threat model, or all our CIN's benchmark, all the hardening guides. We will expose that directly to the cloud security architect via a web UI with a solution like Open Web UI, and we will store all this information in a vector database. In my example, ChromaDB. After that, we will chunk all these different documents, and we will run, a small language model. On the market, you have a lot of small language model available. For this example, I use FIFO, and that will run, on Olama. And after that, at the end, we will expose the answer via the Open Web UI platform. To give you a quick example, we have the model that is based on FIFO. What was very important in this case, that was to define a proper system prompt. That means, a way the model will answer you. For that, we will define the role and the mission, the primary goals, the scope and the assumption, some information about the taxonomy. If you're interested, this system prompt is open source and available on my GitHub. A few examples about the knowledge base. In my case, for this solution, I use a small knowledge base, but you can imagine to have a knowledge base with thousands of documents. And that is an example of prompt a cloud security architect, can apply, directly in Open Web UI, to have a first draft of a threat model. As you can imagine, that is something not perfect, and that will have some drift, but that will help, the cloud security architect to have a first version, and after that, uplift this version. We are seeing this solution like an assistant versus to a replacement of a cloud security architect person. As you can see, we will define the architectures, we will list all the IAM identity, we will list all the top risk, and we will score that based on the methodology you want. And all of that is done automatically, with a LLM, with a SLM, in this case, FIFO. And as you can see also, you can have an output, directly in a JSON format, if you want to store that directly in a GitHub repository. Some example of success metrics you can have, as I mentioned in the introduction, do a threat model, that is very time consuming, specifically if you want to have something very deep dive. And, with this type of solution, that can reduce to less to 2 days. And also what will be good is you will have a full traceability between the architecture, the threat, and the control, and it's very easy, to rerun a threat model exercise with this solution when you have new technical document in your knowledge base, for example. That is something you can also automate. Thank you so much for your attention. If you're interested about this topic, feel free to reach me on LinkedIn, or you can also check my blogs. And thank you so much for your time and your support.